Alex de Minaur and Coco Gauff react as amateur wins $1 million at the one-point slam. The Australian Open main draw hasn't started yet, but Melbourne has already witnessed plenty of drama thanks to the one-point slam. Taking place in front of 10,000 fans at Rod Laver Arena, the one-point slam offered amateur players the chance to take on many professional stars. And it was amateur player Jordan Smith who emerged victorious, earning $1 million Australian for his efforts in Melbourne. Smith knocked out the likes of ATP star Jannik Sinner and WTA ace Amanda Anisimova en route to the top prize at the Australian Open warm-up event. Alex de Minaur and Coco Gauff react to one-point slam winner. Their fellow professionals Alex de Minaur and Coco Gauff have now reacted to the amateurs' memorable success. Australian favorite de Minaur wrote on X, "Yes, it's Jordan Smith. Best moment of the year." And Gauff wrote on X, "Great event. LOL, I said when it started I hoped an amateur won. Congrats Jordan, so cold." Smith beat Joanna Garland in the final, with the world number 117 having previously knocked out Alexander Zverev and Nick Kyrgios. Coco Gauff relieved after Jannik Sinner stumbles in one-point slam. Only 1 point was needed to triumph in each match, while the professionals were only granted one serve. ATP number 2 Sinner, who has won the last 2 Australian Open titles, stumbled at that hurdle against Smith. And WTA superstar Gauff suffered the same fate, of which she said on X, "I feel better about missing my serve now that Jannik and foe, Frances Tiafoe, did." She stuttered against fellow WTA player Donna Vekic, while her fellow American Tiafoe missed his serve against Swiatek. The unique event represents the ideal start of the Australian Open for those taking part, who could afford to relax even with the huge stakes. But now the hard work really gets going for TH. The scoreboard blinked once, twice, then froze on a single, absurd truth. 1 point had decided everything. In the hush that followed, an arena inhaling at the same time, an amateur stood blinking under lights usually reserved for champions, $1 million heavier and a lifetime lighter. The one-point slam had delivered its promise with ruthless elegance. One rally. One swing. One winner. Alex de Minaur leaned on his racket, a grin tugging at the corner of his mouth, as if he just watched a magic trick he desperately wanted to learn. Coco Gauff, a towel draped over her shoulders, shook her head in disbelief, eyes bright, the kind of smile that says this is why we play. The amateur, nerves braided into courage, had stepped into tennis' most unforgiving spotlight, and walked out richer than most dreams dare to be. "It's wild," de Minaur said later, still sounding half surprised. "You train your whole life for moments like this, but seeing someone come in and take 1 point like that, no safety net, it's pure sport. Pure sport." That phrase hummed in the air like a tuning fork. The one-point slam was tennis stripped to its bones, no sets to manage, no momentum to rescue you. Just a serve, a return, and the courage to commit. For pros, it was a reminder that beneath the layers of strategy and stamina, the game is still a test of nerve. For the amateur, it was an invitation to believe. The rally itself would be replayed 1,000 times, slowed to frames and frozen on contact. The serve landed with a skittering kiss near the line. The return came back deep, brave, unafraid. There was a split second, maybe less, when the pro on the other side hesitated, the smallest human pause. The amateur didn't. The forehand cracked, the ball kissed chalk, and the crowd detonated. Gauff watched the moment unfold with a kind of reverence. "That's pressure," she said, laughing softly afterward. "People think pressure is finals, match points, rankings. But pressure is knowing there's no second chance. That's courage. I'm so happy for them." She spoke like someone who understands gravity. Gauff has grown up with expectations stitched into every swing, but she recognized something familiar in the amateur's posture, the way the shoulders settle when fear turns into focus. It's the posture of belief. Around them, the arena buzzed with disbelief and joy in equal measure. Fans debated whether the format was madness or genius. Kids clutched rackets tighter. Somewhere, a recreational player scrolled through the highlight on their phone and thought, "Why not me?" The one-point slam had turned tennis into a lightning strike, rare, electric, impossible to ignore. De Minaur, known for his relentless speed and work ethic, framed it differently. "It reminds you that every point matters," he said. "We talk about percentages, patterns, endurance. But when it comes down to it, you still have to hit the ball. You still have to choose. That never changes. Choose." That was the word. The amateur chose to swing freely, chose to trust muscle memory built on public courts and weekend tournaments, chose not to flinch. In that choice lived $1 million, yes, but also something else. Permission. Permission to believe the sport is big enough to surprise itself. For the pros, there was humility in watching the moment. No ranking could insulate them from the truth that tennis is a game of edges, and edges can cut either way. For Gauff, the win was a celebration of access. "This is what opens doors," she said. "When people see someone like them succeed, even in a crazy format, it makes the game feel closer." The amateur, still dazed, tried to put words to the feeling. There were thank yous, family, coaches, countless hours, and there were tears, honest and unguarded. But the most telling moment came when they held the check, laughed, and said, "I guess I won't forget this point." No one will. The point will live in montages and debates, in barroom arguments and bedtime stories. It will be cited when someone argues that sport needs more risk, more imagination. It will be remembered by players who step to the line on match point and think of a night when one swing changed everything. As the lights dimmed and the crowd thinned, De Minaur and Gauff lingered courtside, talking about serves and returns like they always do. But something had shifted, subtly. The game had winked at them, reminding them of its capacity for wonder. 1 point. $1 million. Infinite possibility. And somewhere between the chalk dust and the cheers, tennis felt young again.